So welcome to the collected essays. I'm really happy that you're all here. And this was the music that I just played was our opening prayer. I thought it was so lovely that it was great to use as a prayer. So here we are. So what are we going to do today? What are we going to do in this class? The collected essays of Joel Goldsmith. So it's not as much about the collected essays. It is about, for us, it is meeting right here and right now. So we come into this place where we actually can meet. And whatever's in the way for that can go now. You don't need it. So it is very helpful to relax and to breathe deeply into your belly, to have a sense of going within, to go inside, so go within. And so in order to be able to receive what's been given, and that always sounds a bit mysterious maybe, or I don't know how that is for you, but see, it is like the perception that you're so used to is actually not so helpful right now. It is not really anything that can really support you in this moment that we come together. So that's another way of saying that what we're doing here is quite extraordinary in the sense of this is not something that's very regularly done. It's not that it's special or anything. I see that my shoulders are going up and down. I really did not fix my green screen yet. So I will sit still and just speak. Maybe that's the easiest. So anyway, what we do here is quite extraordinary. So it's not really a doing, and I repeat that often because it is not of our own doing. There's just a lot of things you don't have to do, and I can make a little list of that for you. It's like I can make a little overview of that for you. So like I said, perception that is not what it appears to be. So the chapter that we're going to do today is business, like the business pamphlet, and there are 3 chapters before this that we don't do, which are, say, in a direct way, much more attractive for me to use because they're so what I love to share about, which is like metaphysical healing, meditation, and prayer. So, but I had to skip those. I don't know why, but I had to skip those because they're so familiar to me. I came to the pamphlet business, and that is totally different for me, but at the same time it is not different at all. So that's what you recognize when you start reading that pamphlet. So it was really fun to go through the chapters of metaphysical healing too, like the 2, and meditation is great too. And why is that so great? Because it actually points out that we're here not dealing with perception. We're actually not using perception in order to come to a deep communion with your Creator, with our Creator. See, and then it is really good to see that it is not that you have to know everything about this, how this is working. So that's the same in this class. It's like it's not about remembering what Joel said about this and this in order to get it all lined up for yourself intellectually. See, that's another thing that is so different. So your intellect is not really what you need here either. So not your intellect, and not this and not that. Like so many things you don't have to do here, not your perception. That's what I started with. Like all this you don't have to use in order to come into communion with God. It's actually in the way of it. So it's an actual hindrance to come to the direct experience. See, and that is metaphysical healing in itself, of course, and that is what we do during meditation and prayer. That's why we just practiced the hour before this. See, so it's like if you allow your mind to slide off into that place, it's like a sliding off, not holding on to anything. It's like, okay, you're in it, you sink deeper in it. And this is the hour to do that. This is the moment that you can practice that. And I will just encourage you to do it and not hold on to anything. Not any idea that you hold about yourself. Not any idea that you think that business is about, or prayer, or God, or yourself. See, it's really coming to the place of not knowing at all and becoming open to receive and to learn. And learning is then more the active remembrance, or coming into the direct experience of what I'm sharing. So that is so great about this class, and this makes it pretty unique because I practice this very direct with you together in this moment. You're literally invited to do so, and not by me. So we come to that in another class. It's like there's the one teacher that is teaching in this moment. And that is not me. It is, okay, the voice that I speak with can be emanated by it, but it is not the teacher that is teaching. No, that teacher that is teaching is the one that we're actually hearing right now. And that has nothing to do with a personal voice reminding you of the chapter of Joel. No, this is a much, more, total way of remembrance. And you're a total part of it. That is so great too. So there's no exceptions to it. There's no exception of your part in it. You can never lose that. And that might be a concept that you remember intellectually. But here is literally the possibility for a real experience of that, an alive experience of that. And actually, it would be nice to express this directly in all its simplicity. And that is something that Joel not directly does either. It's not that he makes it complicated, but it's more like the way that he shares is very specific, and it's so specific that it attracts you to listen to it and to read his books and to come to, like, something was calling you to do so, and maybe a book fell out of the bookshelf on top of your head, and that you had like, okay, I gotta read The Infinite Way, or who knows what story is connected to that. I would love to hear what your first encounter was with it. But then at the same time, you're here because of this very specific language that we're going to use in this class in order for you to hear about the simplicity of the message, using all kinds of words and all kinds of, maybe even exercises, or focus points or ideas that are being shared, just as reflections of this simple, this simple truth of the matter. So to express the simple truth in words is not necessary. So the simple truth can directly be experienced. So that's why we don't really talk about God that much, or wholeness that much. Because it is what it is. And it's here, it's now, it's happening always. So now I can say this to you, and I said something like that the other day too, probably. I have a fake remembering of it, vague. And that is this. So, great part of your day, you actually walk around as you can call it, conceptual denial of this simple truth. You walk around in your world with a certain function, with a certain goal in mind, with a certain attitude, with a certain personality, with a certain surrounding network. And all this is, if you look at it from say a totality of who you are, it is an actual say denial of of what is. And you use it for yourself to give yourself a place to do that, to live that, to have that flow through your consciousness. See, I'm not taking that away from you. I'm not saying you shouldn't. It is just in this hour we're not using that. So in this hour we're all completely equal, completely at the same point, at the same time, in the same place, just asking for remembrance of who we are. That is in fact what we're doing here. So leaving all the denial of who we are behind us, leaving all that for what it is, allowing our minds to expand and become receptive to what is given. Because it's necessary to practice it, obviously, and we have need, we feel the urge to do that, even though some other part of the day you might completely forget it. But here we are in this collected essays class, trying to listen to the simple truth that's given us by Joel through reading it, sharing it, letting some, say, related thoughts come up that are connected to what is given in the text. See, it is really helpful to let go of the ideas that you hold about business and our thinking what is right business, good business, bad business, or whatever business. Because Joel will turn it upside down in in what he shares in this pamphlet. So I don't know if you read it, but then you know what I'm talking about. So he actually uses a lot the example of a diamond as the simple truth, in fact. And as a reflection or analogy of your true reality. That's a rhyme too. Analogy, reality. Okay, so I can see what I can do with that later. But now I'm first going to read, the first paragraph of this chapter. So I skipped the part that's coming from Adam Dickey, because I want to read pure what is coming from Joel. Business, so it's on page 39 of the collected essays. Business is an infinite activity, is forever without limit, and is never dependent on person, place or thing. Right where you are, business is. Right where you are, business is. It is a result of and resident in individual consciousness, because individual consciousness is the universal consciousness individually expressed. If we go about our tasks doing those things that lie nearest at hand, with faith that there's an ever-present invisible power, which the Hebrews call Emmanuel, or God with us, and which the Christians call Christ, our work will always bear fruit. So business is an infinite activity, is forever without limit, and is never dependent on person, place or thing. So that in itself is quite a statement, isn't it? Forever without limit, never dependent on person, place or thing. So here's then actually already a definition that has nothing to do with your ideas about business, at least not mine ideas about business. So this has to do with the infinity of who you are, like the true nature of your being, That's what this has to do with. And you can call it business, you can call it beingness, business. So it's interesting for me to see that Joel calls this business and uses that word. He's coming from a business background in his previous life before he writes this pamphlet. And he knows where he's talking about in terms of business. He knows what business is as a human definition of business. He was part of that, but he decided to go out of that, to start his healing practice and dedicate himself completely to healing, because that was already chosen for him. He started to heal. He started to see that people actually benefited from his presence in a whole different way than in a way that he wanted to discover more about. But he could obviously see it as something that is taking place by his awareness, by his beingness. So then to me it's interesting that he shifts that or defines business this way. So he did that for a very specific reason. And I'm curious if we're going to discover what this reason is that he uses the word business instead of something else. Because he can use all kinds of words for it, but he chooses to do this. So I don't know. Let's find out. I'm very curious if we get to the reason why he uses this. So I go further. On page 40. So business, it says in the middle, like page 40, business, spiritually understood, is the reverse of the usual conception in which every thought must be held to profit and loss, to good policy and bad policy, or that which is or that which is not good business. This business is never at the mercy of times or tides, or circumstances and conditions, but it is the free flow of the activity of mind, universally expressed. Okay, so business, spiritually understood, is the free flow of the activity of mind, universally expressed. So that sounds very much to me like the guidance that you receive by being present here and listening to the still small voice. Like, okay, that kind of business we do know. It's like the listening to the voice and following the guidance that is given by the voice in immediate and direct activity of mind, or the direct activity that's coming through as a guiding light for the things that we do, and trusting that impulse, trusting that to flow through us. So that is, I can understand that. So that's great. This definition is great. So why calling that business? Still not completely clear. Well, we just continue and see what happens. Okay, so lack and limitation, that's the next one. Lack and limitation exist only in the belief that God and man have become separate from each other. The true understanding of man's relationship to God reveals the ever-presence of supply, the immediate availability of good in every form and in an unlimited quantity. All right. The true understanding of man's relationship to God reveals the ever-presence of supply, the immediate availability of good in every form, and in an unlimited quantity. So here, this is the same as what we said in the beginning. It's like coming into all the stopping denying, in fact, the presence of an all-loving God expressing itself through you, say, an infinite form of supply, seeing this is what we talked about the other day, like the first class supply. So that's a continuation of that. And of course, that's why this book is. You can take any kind of title or subject, but it will all come back to the same thing, because, like I said in the beginning, we are actually looking for listening to the simple truth of the matter, like the simple truth of you. So this is being expressed. You even intellectually can get it, that if you are connected to everything that is, to God, everything that is, universal mind, or however you want to express it, what possible lack can you experience? Because, hey, where would that be coming from? Something that is not God? Well, what is not God does not exist. See, and all these expressions that I share with you right now are actually telling you two things at the same time. That's why they might not feel like incredibly comfortable. And that has to do with the idea that, like I said, the conceptual denial of what you are opens a whole world of lack, limitation, disease, disaster. So that is conceptual denial of the truth of who you are. So if you believe that is true, you are not able to see this, like the infinite power, the infinite supply, in the direct communication, in your awareness that there's no such thing as separation. See, that makes intellectually even sense. So this is reasonable, in other words. But then there's the only conflict you can experience is like, how on earth am I going to do this? Or how in hell am I going to do this? How is this possible? How can this supply come to me as a direct experience of not being separate from everything that is, not being separate from God? Because there are moments that I feel, not so connected to God. And I know that there's a place in me where that is, but I don't know how to get to it. So coming back to that, we will use the diamond that Joel is talking about as our healing gem. Our healing pearl, in this sense, is a very gentle diamond. It is a pearl. If you really look at it, it is a pearl. So we're going to use that analogy in order to come to a deeper understanding of our reality. So, as an introduction to this, Joel says it this way: spiritual truths cannot be intellectually discerned, yet they may be unfolded to our consciousness as a result of understanding thoughts received from the intellect. Just like I shared with you a moment ago, it's like, this is reasonable. You can even intellectually grasp that, but it has nothing to do with the truth, but more like, okay, in this direction I have to think. Before we can understand the meaning of atonement with God, we must learn that our real relationship to life, and for this purpose, Before we can understand the meaning of atonement with God, we must learn of our real relationship to life. And for this purpose, we may use a material symbol, as, let us say, a diamond. Well, there it is. Every cut diamond has numerous facets. Not only is it true that each facet is part of the diamond, but actually, on page 41, there can never be any separation between the facet and the diamond, because the diamond and the facet are one piece, one object, one whole. If you can visualize the relationship between the facets and the diamond, you will, even though faintly, catch a glimpse of your inseparability from God. Okay, let's do this. Let's visualize this. Like, okay, here's this diamond. It has all these facets, and they're all, say, part of the diamond. So you cannot really miss it. You cannot really miss that it's part of it. And this actually tells me about my, say, connectedness to God. Like, it's impossible to be separate. It would be like the waves in the ocean. It would be like the rays of the sun, or you can use any kind of analogy. Jill uses then the diamond. It's like all the facets of this incredible diamond is you being part of the whole, inseparable. Okay, that's just an image. So you will note that every facet expresses the life, fire, color, and quality of the whole diamond. That each facet reflects the purity and the quality of the gem, and that the entire activity and all the beauty and durability of the stone are expressed in each facet. And never is any single facet detached or detachable from the whole gem. Beauty, color, fire, character, quality, and strength are inherent in the diamond, and it expresses each and all of these attributes through every facet. The facet, then, is the outlet for the shining forth of the gem's brilliancy. Well, that's a great example. Why is that such a great example? Well, what makes the diamond beautiful? In the dark, you cannot see it, but in the light, then it's when it's going to happen. Then suddenly it becomes like the star that it can be, and that's the same with you, with every facet of the kingdom, of every son of the kingdom. It's like the light shines through you. You then become part. It's like a visual. You literally start to shine light from heaven when you receive this for yourself. And receiving this for yourself is recognizing that you are inseparable from everything that is. So what do you need for that? Well, in order to understand, is what it says like a paragraph before that, in order to understand the sense of at-one-ment with God, you have to understand that in order for you to say, be aware of the facet of the diamond that you are, there's a lot you let go of. There's a lot you don't need. Like all the, say, conceptual denial of yourself has to go. Because it's just in a way for you to see that you're part of this incredible diamond and that the light is shining right through it. The light of heaven shines right through it. That makes it so beautiful and so incredible. And that's how we recognize each other. And that's why you are attracted to this, when you pick up this book. You actually see a glimpse of this light when you pick up the book. Something in you recognizes it and invites you to dive into it. Just like we invite each other in this class to take another look at this and maybe read it one more time in order to have an experience with it. Not in order to know what Joel said about it. No, really to come to say a direct experience of you're not connected, that you are always connected, that the not connectedness that was in your mind or what you thought happened to you has never occurred and has no meaning. Like when this remembrance takes place, you forget all about the moments that you thought that you were lost. That's what makes this so incredible. Like there is no time. There is no going back. There's no... Yeah, Joel says it really beautiful here. It's like, no, it's free of the past, it's free of the future, it's just right here. And it is everything there is. And it's happening in this moment. It's happening in this moment. And it's happening in this moment. So it's like, yes, this is a really great time to allow that to occur. This is your, if you want, your healing moment. This is recognizing the truth of you. So that is what Joel uses. He uses the word business to get to this point. Like it really does not matter. That's why I say, like in the beginning I said this too, it's like we don't read this book because of that it would give us information about what Joel tells us about truth. No, this is an invitation to come to the direct experience of what you are, and have a healing occur in yourself in the recognition of this. Like, oh my God, I never saw it like this. Or suddenly it's like, yes, I was able to just let go of this idea that I hold about myself. So that's the same, coming back to the idea of atonement, atonement with God. It's really like the undoing that is taking place, everything that falls away, everything that you don't have to hold on to anymore, everything that you can let go of, that's just, say, in the way. It's like a debris in this medium that you're in. It's a debris. It is obscuring sight. It is in the way for you to experience directly the truth of who you are, you know. And then here we are, you know. It's like God is, and there's nothing to say about that. God is. It's happening in this moment. It doesn't go anywhere. It's right here. It does not have a future. It does not have a past. It's happening right here. It's a shining, like, brilliant diamond. And you're a total part of it. The light of heaven shines right through it. In stillness, you can receive this. Going within, breathing, relaxing, allowing, expanding. It's happening right here. So here's another one. So Joel at the end starts to talk about the metaphysicians. Too much effort is made by metaphysicians to establish atonement with God, when the fact is that man can no more be separate from God, love, mind, or supply than the facet of the gem can be separated from the whole stone and any of its qualities. Man is forever one with his good, God. He needs but to know it. Nor can the life, substance, and harmonious activity of mind be withheld from any of its individualized expressions, if we rest in the consciousness of our true relationship with the source of our good. So he says, too much effort is made by the metaphysicians to establish atonement with God, atonement with God. So that's why this is good to read. You know, it's like, let's not forget what we're doing here. Like, it is simple truth, coming to simple truth. Truth is so simple, you cannot believe it, that it's so simple. And in order to have that be revealed to you, you just have to admit that you don't know what it is. That you don't have to know all this. You don't have to know all this. No, this is given to you. And that makes it really, say, low profile. It's not difficult. It is the simple truth of you. So that's the practice that we do. It is coming back to us in different ways and in different practices, but at the same time, say the main core business of it is the same. The simple truth of the matter is, God is, I am. It's happening right here and right now. So thank you so much for this, for putting up with me, for listening to this and being part of it, and recognizing that you're, say, listening to the one teacher. That has nothing to do with form, but actually it's a continual relationship that you have with God is, with your Creator. And the voice is speaking to you like all day long. It is not some moments that he suddenly speaks to you. It's like, no, that's a continuation. It continues coming from this silent place inside yourself. You see that it is that which moves you, that which shows you, that which gives you everything. And in all its simplicity, following that, you are given everything, because the whole universe is set up for it. So my attempts to not do it this way cost a lot of energy. So you can, in other words, you can say like that, which comes from God as a given to you is effortless. It comes to you just like that. It comes to you in a moment as in like coming from the source of life, from the well. It comes directly to you, and you can trust that. You learn to trust your, say, feelings or intuitions in that. And you see it confirmed in the fact that you experience the connectedness and have a moment with spirit, or have a moment in light that you recognize, oh my God, I can't believe it. Thank you. How easy is that? How easily things dissolve. How easily I come to the atonement with God by just letting things go and not holding on to ideas that I have. So that's all in this chapter, and it's given us by Joel, by the one teacher. And so thank you for that. And I hope to see you soon, or in class we continue now, and maybe, say, adding some related thoughts or sharing our own experience with how we got to this, how this actually is calling us. And so see you soon. Thank you.